Alright, this is the Ultramarines list I plan on competing with in the local Austin area. Um, Hopefully over the next couple months here. Definitely going to bring it to the local tournament. Um, Start off the list. I call this the Eradication List. I'm running 15 Eradicators with heavy melta rifles. Um, Actually, one of them back here has a multi-melta, but those bits are quite hard to come by and quite expensive. So I haven't quite converted two more of these guys to heavy melta, but I should be doing that by the end of the month before the tournament happens. So it'll be 3x5 heavy melta rifle eradicators, one multi-melta per squad. Um, Pretty high volume of shots. You're looking at 18 of them total. The multi-melta is essentially one extra. I'm not sure how happy I am with the low volume of shots, but it's not definitely not terrible. I did take the heavy melta rifles because Ultramarines have no penalty for moving and shooting, including heavy weapons, second and third turn in the tactical doctrine. So it's definitely going to be helpful in those turns to be able to keep moving forward, slow gun line, just like we practiced as the Ultramarines. Really not much to talk about there. Huge shots, basically because they're heavy melta rifles, as long as they hit you, as long as you're in range, you're taking d6 plus 2 damage. So shooting against other Gravis infantry, Blade Guard veterans, weakened guys, characters, vehicles, they do a lot more damage. I think they're definitely worth the 5 points. AP4, they'll take basically every infantry blow straight through their armor saves. Some things got invulnerable saves like these Blade Guard vets, but if I hit them with, if I hit them with 6 shots, I'd expect a reasonable amount of them to go through. Their strength 8, Blade Guard actually only toughness 4, so wounding on 2s, hitting on 3s, I'd be re-rolling 1s to a hit and wound, which I'll talk about in a second. Realistically, if 2 of them go through, that's 2 Blade Guard guys dead, 3 damage apiece, and we'll definitely take that. Right, against an enemy. Against a horde army, we're going to have a problem with volume of shots. Also, I'll talk about that in just a second. Right, so it's 15 Eradicators, 3 Blade Guard vets of my own. Just great at holding objectives, great to go forward. Maybe I put them in midfield, kind of hold something down, but if it's looking like I'll play against someone who's pretty radically shooty, I might just put them in the backfield. Have a guaranteed screen in the back, and for sure they won't be taken off that objective by anything in particular. Be kind of a waste in a lot of points, but it's only 105. It's only 5 more than I pay for 5 Intercessors. Kind of a waste, but if it's holding down an objective, I can't really complain too much. Praise Rod. Okay, so moving along, to remedy the volume of shot problem, I have 2 squads of 3 Inceptors. They're all using the assault bolters, which I'm told is a questionable decision considering how much reroll aura I have, but really I'm just after the volume of shots, really not after the plasma. Certainly not trying to chase them down with the captain. They give them rerolls just in case. So they're just here for volume of shots. These are strength 5 guns, and there's assault, so they benefit from AP -1 in turn 2 and 3 from tactical jockering for us. So I see no problem with taking them like that. 18 shots out of 3 of them, so 36 total. Horde armies, I'd expect them to go reasonably well. Even orcs, right? Toughness 5. Those are my buddies' orcs in the background. Toughness 5, so wounding on 4s. We're going to get a reasonable amount in there. But yeah, they're just there for volume of shots. Then we have 3x5 Intercessors. Just regular bolt rifles. Rapid fire. Nothing particularly fancy. That 30-inch threat range is definitely going to be good for us. One of them might be stuck holding back backfield objectives. It's all got to be flexible, which is why they're in sets of 5. I am back and forth on running them in a set of 10 and then combat squatting them as I need to, because honestly, we're not relying on the sergeant's extra punch, and we're already leadership +1 as Ultramarines. So keeping them in 10 and maybe combat squatting in the beginning will be important. That way the 2 CP for rapid fire, right, shooting twice would be a lot more efficient. To cover that potential, it's actually 3x5 Intercessors and 1 squad of 5 Infiltrators, which is why I'm actually considering that, 1x5 Infiltrator, 1x5 Intercessor, and 1x10 Intercessors. That's kind of up in the air. I'm still making that decision overall. Redemptor Dreadnought, pretty obvious take. because not only can you not get a Neo Volkite Contemptor, but I really don't care to get one. Kitted all the way up, Icarus rocket pods, Gatling cannons, both ways. We're just after volume of shots. Obviously, I have the stuff that does the job of macro plasma right here, so I'm not really jonesing too terribly bad for more high AP, high damage shots. So that's kind of the list as it stands before I go over the elites. Elites are pretty simple, but Captain, his relic is the Vox, whatchamahoosit, extra 3-inch to his aura, so 9-inch rerolls. Pretty great. I can't really argue with that. I do have him with Add Up to the Codex, that plus 5 up CP regen once per round. I really actually don't like that, even though it's the trait that everyone takes. I might be switching to Master Stratagem, would let us get a turn 1 reroll, turn 1 no penalty to hit on an Eradicator squad that I might advance a little further up. Not advance, but move further up. Just because turn 1 they don't benefit from Tactical Doctrine unless I distribute it out to them. The Apothecary is a pretty clear choice here. He's a Chief Apothecary, he's got Selfless Healer. I don't really expect him to stay too close to 2 squads, but it is possible. So I paid for those extra points just in case he needs to. Really what it comes down to is the Blade Guard Vets, the Eradicators, and the Inceptors are all 3-wound Space Marine models. I expect to be transhumaning a lot just to keep him alive, but his ability, he moves 6 inches, every turn he brings 1 3-wound guy back up from the grave, kind of unstoppable. And hopefully he'll be keeping them healthy as they take middling damage after transhuman or whatever it takes. That's why these Eradicators are in squads of 5. It's the max you can take before transhuman gets more expensive. But that's his role. His role really will just be to keep him healthy. Lieutenant, reroll wound aura, pretty self-explanatory. He's got nothing special, just the bolt rifle and the reroll wounds. Yeah, as you can tell, I really did not paint the captain or the lieutenant with any particular care because by the time I got to them, I was tired. Actually, how this is set up now is an ideal situation, ideal quote-unquote. It's not actually going to ever happen or be reasonably feasible in any game, but this captain is 9 inches away from this front squad of Eradicators. All of them benefit from reroll 1s, and all of them benefit from reroll 1s to wound from the lieutenant just in this range. So just something to think about. That's my general, total army reroll range. If anything ever stays out of it, obviously we have Wisdom and Ancients 1 CP to give them the thing of choice, probably reroll wounds because I have a 9-inch aura on the captain, which is pretty massive. It has been pointed out to me that it's pretty idiotic to just take so many melt shots and not really consider volume of fire with high strength. To that end, I do have another list, basically exactly the same in the works, but I cut the Eradicators and I cut 5 Intercessors out, so then I'd have to run 2x5, obviously, and then the 5 Infiltrators. But in their place would be another entire Redemptor Dreadnought, obviously full volume of shots all the way, and then Assault Plasma Incinerators. For the Hellblasters, just volume of shots. That's 15 plasma shots. Really hard to argue. Strength 7, so it doesn't matter if I overcharge. I'm still going to be on 3s on Orcs with toughness 5. Definitely going to be on 2s against toughness 3 like Eldar or anything like that. If I need to overcharge, like I super need to wipe a squad of Necron Warriors, fingers crossed they're within Wisdom of the Ancients or Captain, otherwise guaranteed to at least lose 1, if not 2. But that's pretty much the list as it stands now. We're running a little long, but there are a lot of troops here. The only other guy you find, if you look up competitive Ultramarines on YouTube, is the guy who has a super vehicle-heavy list, and he actually went Ultramarine Successors, so someone's got to do it. Hopefully it'll be me, and hopefully this list doesn't get blown off the table consistently. As far as secondaries go, I'm really thinking about Engage, or depending on the deployment zone, maybe behind enemy lines. I have 2 drop-down Inceptor squads, so they'll definitely be helpful for either of those 2 things, considering how slow the rest of the list is. The Blade Guard Vets will probably be advancing pretty much every turn until they get to an objective. I'm not really afraid of losing them, and they only have the bolt pistol shots anyway. Right, so if I was in one table quarter here, and it's kind of hard to see, but I would probably start them at the edge and advance them back that way to an objective, right? Like, say the orc over there is an objective. Yeah, pretty standard stuff. Obviously, this is a super killy list. Be looking at things like grind them down or bring it down, whatever it's all called now. And I think because the Interceptors count as infantry, if they're hanging out towards the end of the game, I mean, the hope of all this shooting, especially the multi shots, is that everything scary they have is dead by turn 3. Right? I have things like Auspex Scan, defensive posture, or defensive focus, right? I'll be getting extra shooting out of the melta guns. Only hitting on 6s, of course, but for defensive focus, but shots are shots. Because these Interceptors infantry, hopefully they'll be able to retrieve Octari's data. Worst case scenario, I can always uncompromising fire for 2 CP, retrieve data, perform that action, and still be able to fire the 18 bolter shots, which would be pretty crucial, I'm sure, at certain points in the game. Kind of not looking great for Oath of Moment, as much as it sucks to say. There are going to be super fast lists like Tyranids or Drukhari and boats, or I don't know, some kind of strange advancing Scorpet Destroyer, flying Necron lists that'll get up in my face really quick. In that situation, I would have to take the fallback and shoot advantage over the Ultramarines there. I mean, you fall back and shoot with a -1 to hit, but that's better than having Eradicators tied up when they could be shooting. So that is pretty much the list. Pretty Ultramarine-y, I think. But I'm playing a practice game against Orcs in a couple days, and then another practice game against Necrons, so I will see how those go. That's it.